Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new episode of the NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode. I hope you're all having a great day. Today is a very important race, the final race of the regular season here at Daytona International Speedway. And first up, we of course have things here in the Xfinity Series, but the story really today on the Cup Series with three drivers trying to get one spot here in the playoffs, and that is Austin Cindric, currently the last car in the playoffs, 2 points below, or 2 points above Kyle Larson, who is 2 points below the cut line in that number 5 car. And then below Kyle Larson is his other Hendrick Motorsports teammate of Alex Bowman in the 48, who is 12 points below the cut line. So those three drivers going for one spot here today. Of course, we would love to somehow get both of our teammates in today here in Daytona, but the odds of that happening are very unlikely. So you're going to see myself trying to help our teammates, both of Alex Bowman and Kyle Larson, and put one of them in victory lane here tonight in Daytona. As we came through into the Xfinity side of things, where we had our Hendrick Motorsports teammate of Alex Bowman running for us here for the first time this season in the Xfinity Series in this number 24 Ream Camaro as he went down this back straightaway. Of course, started at the back of the field here for the Daytona 250. Now, as he was just trying to work his way to the bottom lane and make some ground up, and sure enough, very quickly Alex would get to that bottom lane. And as the race went on, he just continued to make this bottom lane work in his advantage here as he was just moving his way through the field. Now, as he went down into turns 1 up towards the top 30 at this point, and as the race went on, he just slowly but surely was able to wheel his way up towards the top 25. Then he would get up towards the top 20 as well as the laps clicked off, closing in towards the end of this race. So we cut through right to the final lap here in Daytona now, as Alex would 3 wide up the inside of Jeremy Clements and Ryan Sieg into turn 3, and as well up the inside of the 11 of Justin Haley, who moves up to the Cup Series next season in the career mode as a rookie. As we exit turns 4, heading down this front straightaway for the final time, it was Josh Williams picking up the victory over second place of Sam Mayer, and we come through to cross the line here with Alex Bowman for what was a little bit of a disappointing finish here. P10 was hoping for a little bit better, but at the end of the day, still a top 10 and cannot complain with that. Josh Williams with the win. That does not lock him in the playoffs, so that did not alter anything in terms of Haley Deegan as well as Kevin Magnussen, who are trying to get to the playoffs on points. But we come through now getting ready to go for the Cup Series weekend, where all the focus is on here today. And actually, we're running a one-off special scheme. You might see this at some points in the future in the career mode as well, but as you guys know, I'm a huge fan of the Chainsmokers, and we finally made a Chainsmokers paint scheme that I was happy with. I made it by myself, and this is the third scheme now that I've made customly, so I was very excited to get this made. And we come through now into Daytona for qualifying. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of the paint scheme. I showed it to Discord and Reddit as well as Twitter earlier in the week, and they seemed to all appreciate it, so I was happy about that. But we come through running our qualifying lap. Wasn't expecting the most. I actually put a custom setup in for qualifying, and I didn't run a great lap though. I should have done a second lap to go even faster, but I called it after 1 lap, and unfortunately we will start at the very back of the field here on P40 for the Coke Zero Sugar 400 at Daytona International Speedway. As you check out the rest of the qualifying order, Kyle Busch rounds out the top 20, but the focus is where the 5 and the 48 cars are, and Alex Bowman, he's up there in P7, and Kyle Larson, he's outside of the top 10 with Ryan Blaney, Kevin Harvick on the front row. Blaney in a must-win situation to get into the playoffs here tonight in Daytona. Alright boys, I'm going to do everything I can to help out the 5 and the 48 tonight. We'll see what we can do, and hopefully at least one of them will get in tonight. Already a huge development in the stories of the race. You see right there, Austin Cindric starting at the back after failing pre-race inspection. He comes into tonight 2 points above the cut line in that 21 car. We know he's going to Penske Racing next season in the career mode, but here in his rookie season, he would love to be in the playoffs, but now finds himself already behind the ball as we get ready to take the green flag here in Daytona. 2 points between Cindric and Larson for that last spot, and Bowman 12 below. So if hopefully, like I said, we can find a way to get one of them in tonight now, as we are underway here for the regular season finale at Daytona International Speedway. One more race until we start the playoffs for the 3rd time in our Cup Series career, and the main goal tonight is to, just like I already said, help out the 5, help out the 48, and when it comes down to the end of the race, whichever one of them is in best position for us, we're going to help them, and hopefully it'll be both of them somehow getting in. The only way really both Larson and Bowman can get into the playoffs here is if Brad Keselowski has a DNF or something, and basically finishes 40th in the race and gets no stage points. That's pretty much our only hope to get both Bowman and Larson into the playoffs. And you do see Keselowski right now outside of the top 30, so he's currently in a position to get no points here in this first stage, which does help out a little bit. But of course, us starting on the back, we have to just spend really this whole first stage trying to work our way forwards and run down our teammates Kyle Larson as well as Alex Bowman in the 48. Chase Elliott and myself, the only two Hendrick drivers right now inside the playoffs. And if it wasn't for surprise winners this season, both of our teammates would be in the playoffs right now that are currently out of Bowman and Larson. Here as we will go up the inside of the 00 of Quinn Halfier into turns 1 now through the center of the corner. That 00 car will not be in the field next season in the career mode. Now as we got some new teams coming in, of course, as we go down this back straightaway, Colleague Racing, one of the brand new teams, as well as Red Bull Racing coming in. So 2 new teams coming into the Cup Series next season, and then we of course just announced in the last episode the 4th car for Penske Racing, which will be an expansion onto their 3-car team they already have, and that will be replacing the 34 of Michael McDowell's car for a front row. So they will be reducing to 2 teams, Penske up to 4, with Cindric driving that 33 car. I can confirm I already have a scheme made, but I will not reveal that to the end of the season. Now, as we came through, though, towards lap 4, now of the inside of the 7 of Zane Smith, the rookie, who finds himself in a must-win situation as well to get into the playoffs like many others here today in Daytona. As we go down into turn 3, we were now closing in on the back of our teammate of Kyle Larson, who is very surprised to be really in a position where he is right now. Earlier this season, he was well inside the playoffs, and he's had a bit of a downfall as the regular season has gone on, and now he finds himself 2 points below that cut line. But if he can just get P9 or better here in stage 1, he can at least tie Cindric or get himself in or above the cut line now as we come through the center of 1 and 2 now on lap 5 of 11 here in stage 1. Ryan Blaney currently found himself out front leading this race. Blaney has to win this thing pretty much realistically if he wants to have a chance to get into the playoffs, but we would end up getting our first caution of the day here in Daytona. Now a few laps later down the back straightaway, it was Eric Jones in the McLaren who had lost a tire, and the caution of course would be out, and we would get ready to go back to the green flag. No pit stop necessary here, so we would get ready to go green from P22. There was one problem when that caution came out. You saw my car actually get into the back of the 5, I believe it was, of Kyle Larson, so I knew immediately we were in trouble for this restart. The car was not going to take off, and sure enough, I was correct. The car did not go whatsoever, so I pull out of the way to get out of the way from the 1 of Gregson, the 14 of Chase Briscoe, who actually decided to stay behind me. Briscoe won the last race at Dover, so he is, of course, inside the playoffs as well as he was already inside the playoffs without the victory. Gregson right now has had a great end to the regular season here in his 2nd season in the Cup Series, 1st season with that Chip Ganassi Racing team, and he is going to be well up inside a comfort zone of making it into the playoffs here tonight in Daytona. Now as we go down this back straightaway here, so down to P32 after that poor restart, just because of that glitch that we get of when a caution comes out, you run into the back of somebody, your AI hits somebody, basically it messes up your next restart. But we were trying to work our way back forwards here as we came through to 2 to go, approaching the final lap in stage 1. Denny Hamlin had taken the lead from Ryan Blaney as we were approaching this final lap of the stage. Now as I was 3 wide in the middle between Christopher Bell there for a second in the 47. Now I was 3 wide between Chastain and Stenhouse there as we came through, starting the final lap in stage 1. So not the result we're looking for so far, not even in the top 30 as we go down into the first turn, as Denny Hamlin tries to pick up any playoff point he can before the regular season comes to an end now, as we get some help there from the 2 of Keselowski. And surprisingly, Keselowski of course still winless this season, and that's why he finds himself in such a rough position here trying to make the playoffs. Now as we go down this back straightaway, we're going to send it 3 wide up the middle between now the 20 of Bell as well as the 7 of Zane Smith here as we go down into turns 3 for the final lap of stage 1. Harvick second, Kyle Busch third, trying to run down Denny Hamlin, but it does not look like any of them have enough here as we exit turns 4 behind that 7 of Smith. We kind of got in behind him through turn 3 as we're going to send it up the middle again between him and now the 10 of Matt Benedetto as Hamlin wins stage 1. We cross the line there for a pretty rough 29th place in this first and opening stage here in Daytona. Well, that was not preferred, but yeah, sorry about that, boys. I mean, we just had a bad restart. I'll do what I can to get back up to the 5 or the 48 and see what we can do and help them out here. There you heard myself on the radio. I mean, I really had no intentions of winning this race unless the 48 or the 5 end up crashing out there, as you see the top 10 in the stage. So unfortunately, Larson, Bowman, none of them picked up stage points. So now it pretty much guarantees Brad Keselowski to make the playoffs here now as we get underway for the start of the 2nd stage. And for the final time in this regular season, we are going to go through into the AM segment here in Daytona. A bit of a moment there with the 10 of Matt Benedetto, a tremendous save by him down the back straightaway after you saw some contact between himself and I, but we have worked our way up to P25 on the restart now behind the 5 of Larson, the 48 of Alex Bowman, so we got both of our teammates right here in the vicinity of us, and now we have to get into that mode of trying to get linked up with them and try to help them forwards here in the final 8 laps of the second stage. I should mention, during that AMP segment, I really noticed just how good this paint scheme looks under the lights, and I knew we had to run this paint scheme at a night race. I felt like it would just work out perfect, but we would follow Kyle Larson. We were in line with Larson and Bowman. Perfect case scenario right here, but the one problem was we were now up the inside of the 22 of our rival of Joey Logano. Here's a go down this back straightaway towards turn 3. Sure enough, through the trial, but Logano tries to force us onto the apron, and at this moment, I was just like, you gotta be kidding me. We just reset the rivalry here with the 22, and once again, we're gonna have to spend the next 4 or 5 races trying to get rid of this rivalry as he gets right on my quarter panel into turns 1. So now he was in behind me, and sure enough, now in lap 6 into turns 1, Logano actually pushes me up the track, and we get hung out there in the middle as the 5 and the 48. You see, even Bowman was up on the outside now, so Larson moving his way forwards, and I was trying to find a way to help out Bowman, and fortunately, we would actually be able to get back down to the bottom behind the 22 and the 18 of Logano and Kyle Busch, and I was leaving a gap here between myself and Kyle Busch, trying to allow the 48 of Alex Bowman to drop down, but he was not dropping down. I actually had to chop Denny Hamlin's nose off very hard to get in behind the 48 of Bowman just to make sure we can get linked up and try and make something happen before the end of the second stage, because every stage that goes by where we don't get points for that 48, it just gets harder and harder for him to make the playoffs. So we come through down the front straightaway, finally linked up with Bowman, but he just kind of goes in a different direction there as we're right on the front bumper of Daniel Suarez in that number 99 as we go down into turns 1. Blaney back out in front. There's actually smoke from the 99 of Daniel Suarez. He's going to go spinning into turns 1. We have a crash behind there, multiple cars piling up. Daniel Suarez blows a tire, goes around, and unfortunately that ends stage 2 a few laps early, but the one good part about it is Kyle Larson picked up 2 points, which now means going into the third and final stage, it is a tie for that last spot in the playoffs between Larson and Cindric, and Bowman still remains 12 points below the cut line. And like I mentioned, now it's between Cindric, Larson, Bowman to get in, and of course we cannot get both Hendrick cars in at this point now after the first 2 stages haven't gone exactly like we had hoped. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens here. I am committing to just helping whatever one just happens to get on my front bumper. If we help the 48, then good. If we help the 5, then that works out as well now as we get ready to go green. But still, the idea here as we start the third and final stage, which is now underway, at all costs, at least get one of our teammates here into the playoffs as we are underway with 16 laps to go now in Daytona for the regular season finale. Martin Truex Jr. in front of us there in P16, his final season of his Cup Series career before handing that car over to the 95 of Harrison Burton. Now, as that 95 car yet to have any news really if they're even going to be in the Cup Series next season here in the career mode. So you're going to have to keep an eye out on that here in the coming races. Now, there's still a little bit of silly season news coming here in the career mode before next season, as it's a little bit toned down compared to last season. Now, as there's going to be more of a paint scheme focus next season in the career mode, you're going to see a bunch of new paint schemes on track. 2021 paint scheme based, I should mention here, as we will now go up the inside, some contact with the 10 of Matt Benedetto as we come through down the front straightaway to complete this first and opening lap. Now, as I'm looking for my chance to get down to the inside, I actually clipped the 10 in the right rear quarter panel, but fortunately we do get down to the inside as he's 3 wide with the 3 of Austin Dillon, as well as the 9 of Martin, or 19, sorry, of Martin Truex Jr. here as we go into the corner up the inside of the 3, of course, Austin Dillon as well in a must-win situation if he wants to make it into the playoffs. But Kyle Larson, he had moved his way up a little bit, but he was all the way on the outside. Bowman all the way on the bottom. Here's a go down this back straightaway, 3 wide with now Benedetto as well as Michael McDowell here as we approach 14 laps to go in the regular season finale. Bowman closing in on all of our Hendrick teammates right here now as we came through on at lap 27. He had now gotten past Larson, but then I actually leave a gap again, trying to allow Kyle Larson to get down to the inside here as we came through out of turns 2. We're trying to help both Larson and Bowman as much as we can. Of course, at the end, we're going to have to commit to one of them and just do whatever we can here. Now, as I was, like I said, trying to let Larson in, but he didn't seem to be taking the opportunity, so I just said, you know what, I'm going through to help the 48, but then fortunately, Larson actually drops in behind us here. So now it's going to be a 3-car line, Bowman in front, myself in the middle, Kyle Larson just behind us now. So we came through now following the 48, but he would again move up to the top here now as we came through on lap 28. So once again, I'm letting off the gas a little bit, trying to let Bowman get down to the inside, but he was not going down whatsoever. So I knew we had to try and do everything we could to get linked up with him here to get his chances of winning elevated. So we come through down the back straightaway on lap 29. I get clear of the 00. We slide up just in front of him. We pick up Bowman and we slide back down to the inside and continue to maintain with Larson behind us. So that was a great timed move right there, and that allowed us to pick up the 48 of Bowman and get back going here on the inside. We would actually be able to get past the 22 of Joey Logano. We were now up the inside of the 1 of Noah Gragson, who will be in the playoffs this season on points here, still looking for that first career win. He was very close recently at Michigan now, as we would also get up the inside of Joey Gase. But once we got here, approaching 10 laps to go, by the way, Kyle Larson would kind of start to struggle once we pushed past the 51 of Joey Gase. So now that was becoming a bit of an issue. He was getting a little bit disconnected, and he would actually get the 51 in line in front of him, and right behind me, of course, there you see Gase slide in. So that was another problem, as we still want to help Larson as much as we can. Really, at this point, committed though to the 48 mainly, but we still want to really help that 5 of Larson. So I decided to go to the top lane where the 51 would follow me, so we could almost quote-unquote sabotage the 51 to allow the 5 of Larson to get to the inside. As you're going to see into turns 1, I stick with Bowman here on the top lane, and now Larson is able to get to the inside of the 51 of Joey Gase. So then I was like, okay, you know what, as soon as we come out of turns 2, we'll drop back down to the bottom, pick up Larson again, and we'll be back in business. So sure enough, myself and Bowman migrate down towards that yellow line, and we pick up Larson as a draft partner again. But once again, he would get disconnected, and now it was once again on the top lane. I'm trying to help Bowman win this race, but I'm trying to help Larson to make sure he's in a good spot too, now as he would be running all the way up at the top. And as of right now, Larson is in the playoffs. But if Bowman wins this race, Larson's out of the playoffs, and there's nothing he can do about it now because Kozlowski's too far ahead, and Cindric, he is out as well. So now I actually give myself up. I say, you know what, Bowman, go for it. I'm going to make sure we pick up Larson and at least keep him in touch with us now. And if a caution comes out or something, it's going to be just a free-for-all at that point now, as we're going to get a nice push there. I throw a big block on the 51 of Gase as we came through out of turn 2, chomp his nose a little bit now, and then I'm going to throw another block down the back straightaway, slow his momentum, and allow Larson to get clear. But now we have to run down the front 3 again of Bowman, who's trying to pick up the victory here in Daytona for the first time ever in that 48 car in general here, as we're going down into turns 3 with 6 laps to go. The caution comes out with 6 laps to go, and this is going to force a 2-lap dash here in Daytona. Corey LaJoie decides he is going to stay out, and this completely messes over the Hendrick Motorsports plan here with the final restart of the night coming at your way. Exactly what we did not want to see. As we would come into the pit lane, we just put half a can of fuel is all I did. No tires, no repairs. But like I said, this really messed up the plan because with LaJoie staying out specifically, both Larson and Bowman are starting on the outside. So at this point, we just have to choose a 48 and go and push him into the playoffs now and pretty much hang out Larson now as we get ready to go green. But you also look around us, the top 3 are all in a position where they could win themselves into the playoffs and eliminate Bowman's chances as well, and for Larson of course too. So we have to absolutely clutch up on this restart and make something happen here. Bowman 4th, Larson 5th, myself in P6 here as we go down into turns 1 with 2 laps to go in the Coke Zero Sugar 400 now in Daytona. Now leaving a space for Bowman to get to the inside. Sure enough, he slides down in front of me. Unfortunately, Larson's stuck on the top. Nothing we can do about it at this point, and just commit to the 48 of Alex Bowman here as we go down the back straightaway with a lap and a half to go. We're only going to get one chance, I believe, at it to push Alex Bowman to victory, so we have to make every little second count right here now as Eric Almirola in the 43 goes to the lead here. He won at this very racetrack before in his career back in 2014 it was, and now here he is trying to pick up the win again after reuniting with that 43 team as he comes through to start the final lap here in Daytona. Larson still in at the moment, but if we can push Alex Bowman to the lead, Bowman will win his way into the playoffs now as Almirola blocks to move into turns 1 here on this final lap. He is blocking for his life at this point now, as we're only going to have one chance to put Alex Bowman in victory lane, and it's going to come right here as we go down this back straightaway for the final time. We have a big help, big push from the 51 of Joey Gase, who helped us win at Talladega. Almirola goes to the top. We got to get that 48 to that quarter panel of the 43, and sure enough, into turn 3, Bowman up the inside of Almirola. We had one chance to make it work, and we do come out here in front with Bowman in P1, myself in P2 as we exit turns 4. We executed perfectly on that final final restart as we come through down the front straightaway. Alex Bowman will win his way into the playoffs with help from myself as we come through to finish second. Kyle Larson, unfortunately, was in a terrible spot for that final restart, and he will not advance to the playoffs, but we still at least got a third Hendrick car in and helped Alex Bowman pick up the victory as Larson had to settle for the 10th position here today in Daytona as Brad Keselowski finished down in P30, and at just based off of how stage 1 and 2 went, even if Keselowski had finished 39th or 40th, he still would have beat Kyle Larson into the playoffs here in Daytona. But of course, the main goal was to help one of our teammates get into the playoffs, and we did exactly that. Now, as I honestly thought it was going to be Kyle Larson getting in, but once we got to that final restart, I knew Larson was in an absolutely terrible position. And then once Bowman got down in front of us, we had to push him. We had to have a perfect restart, and we managed to have a perfect final 2 laps and push Bowman by at the right time. So there is the playoff grid now on your screen. I did show real quick. There you see Larson was the first car out. Austin Cindric did not advance into the playoffs in his rookie season after having a strong regular season. He had kind of a downfall similar to Kyle Larson, but we are 43 points above the cut line going into the playoffs. Elliott in second there, 24. Now as we go through the rest, Gregson in the playoffs for the first time in his Cup Series career in his second season, but there you see the 4 drivers on the outside looking in: Keselowski, Jones, Bowman, and Harvick. So it's going to be a great start, or a great playoff run, I believe, this season, and hopefully, unlike last season, we can win a championship here at Phoenix now. And as always, if you guys enjoyed this episode, you do know what to do. In the next one, we go to Darlington Raceway, or Darlington Speedway, and we are going to have the throwback race where I have a customly made modded paint scheme for that race that I cannot wait to show you guys in the next episode. I think you will really like it. It's Jeff Gordon based, so yeah, I can't wait to show you that. But before we end this episode, I just want to say thank you to the Going Racing members of MJ, Aiden, James, Dylan A, Joseph 9001, RJ, Timothy, Bubba Jr., Illinois Diecast, NASCAR on Docks, Devin Roth, Eric Chouette, Matthias Hansen, as well as Movement. You guys help me a lot, as I say every time, and I really appreciate it. And I just want to say thank you to everybody that took the time out of their day to watch this episode. I will see you guys in the next one, where we start the 3rd playoff run of our Cup Series career in Darlington. Have a great day, everybody.